Welcome back, and thank you for joining A Shark's Perspective. I am Kenneth Shark Kinney, your host and Chief Shark Officer. How do you build a personal connection using something like a marketing or communications tool to stand out to your customers? Personalization is such a tough topic. Everyone gets the value, but making a one-to-one connection in the way you communicate can be difficult when most people just think of sending a direct email that becomes one of a gazillion other emails, or a DM, or it's a mass email where at best they get the name right using SQL join or VLOOKUP of your database for the high bracket name section of that email. But what if you could put something in your emails, some fairy dust, if you will, that would make them more likely to be open and engage with like 3 times more, and quite simply make a more personalized one-to-one connection? Matt Barnett is the CEO, founder, and Papa Bear as he's known at Bonjoro, the world's first customer delight platform to help great teams build real relationships with their customers at scale. And on this episode, we'll discuss personalized videos via email, drip campaigns, lead funnels, measuring the ROI, customer delight platforms, Australian-based Brits, surfing spots on the Gold Coast, fast fish, and a lot more. So let's tune into a Papa Bear with a Papa Shark on this episode of A Shark's Perspective. Matt, thank you for joining us today on A Shark's Perspective. If you will, give us a brief background on your bear journey and how you got from one coast to another.
Yeah, so I'm British originally. I'm actually a industrial designer, so brought up designing products. Moved from the UK to Australia, mostly chasing surf and sharks and snakes. So a bit more exciting country. Came here, fell into the tech world, built one agency. We moved out to the UK a couple of years ago as its business was over there, and then launched out into a startup called Bonjoro, which we've been running for the last 3 years.
Tell me a little bit about Bonjoro.
So Bonjoro is a one-to-one personalized video messaging system that's used to convert, activate, and retain customers. So what we found is at certain points on the customer journey, sending a personalized video to Kenneth, to Shark, or to Jim, or to Mary, just letting them know that you're there to help and thanking them for being a customer has a huge impact on ultimately conversion, activation, retention rates. You tend to get about 3 times the response rates of any other type of messaging.
Where does the name Bonjoro come from?
It's obviously connotations to hello, greeting, bonjour, bonjour or buongiorno,
Yeah.
Italian, French.
Yeah.
So that's the connotations. But otherwise, the website was free, so we picked it.
Perfect. What sparked the idea for this? I mean, obviously, there are some competitors in this space, some that I'm familiar with as well. But is it you thought this was going to be good for sales, good for personalization? What was your aha moment with building a company around this type of technology?
Yeah, so I actually ran an agency here in Australia. The one I mentioned, we moved to the UK, which was dealing with clients in the UK, London, and Paris, and New York. So it was all large FMCG clients, large agency clients. So very much relationship driven. But if you're based in Australia, time zones are a challenge to say the least. So we would have drip campaigns going in with leads that came in. We had a pretty good lead funnel. Look, I think originally they were pretty good at converting, and then everyone got on board with drip campaigns, and that conversion went down. It was an industry where pitching and jazz hands was a big part of the car sale process, sure. which I'm good at. But again, on this of the world, hard to get that across. So I just started sending videos to every lead that came up. I do research on them. We built basically like a little bit of hack. We had devs on the team and stuff. So we built something that would notify me every morning of who came in the lead funnel. Give me links to their LinkedIn, give me links to their website. So I'd be able to personalize the video for, John from Ogilvy. I saw that he works on the Budweiser team. So I mentioned that. And I'd say, look, we're coming into London in 6 weeks. Let's come in and pitch. And we started sending these out. So the first piece of comms they ever got from the company was a video of me normally on a boat on the way to work. And we tripled our response rates. We tripled the demos we did. We tripled the business we did off the back of it. And that was it until one of those clients asked if they could use this video messaging tool for their own lead conversion. And we built them a system they could use, very, very hacky. They started using it, and one of their customers asked if they could use it. And then we put a, kind of sign up page up. And then in terms of scale, it overtook the agency within 18 months.
Really?
So it was never meant to be a business. We solved our own problem, and it turns out it was a problem, and it was very effective and worked for a lot of other people. So again, we stumbled into this purely by accident.
So how much of this, though, do you think was you said you were out on the boat, for so much video that's fun, if you're just sitting in front of, like normal world where everybody's working from home now and sitting in front of an office, it's not that exciting. You get out on the boat on the water, then everybody pays attention. It's kind of like showing the things on Instagram that are fun and exciting. But how much of that do you think was just sort of the background and part of the appeal? Or was it just the fact that you were doing any video to personalize a message whatsoever?
Yeah, so knowing what we know now, looking back in hindsight, so like I wouldn't say it's even video is the thing that works here. What is actually happening is the fact that you're taking 30, 40 seconds to acknowledge a customer or to acknowledge a lead and check it in person when other people won't do this. This is actually the piece that matters. So it doesn't matter where you are. Look, most of our videos, we have mobile and desktop. Most of them are done on mobile. Pre-pandemic, I think 25% of the videos recorded that people do on the way to work. So while they're walking down the street, that kind of thing. So again, it's not very exciting, but it's actually it's still interesting. But it's all about the individual in the video. It's all about saying thanks and acknowledging. That's the piece that works. So video just happens to be the medium that conveys that. You don't need to be on a boat. On the boat, by the way, like it was very windy. No one could understand anything I said. so that killed that. They were
But
like,
it's still converted, yeah.
It's still converted. They were like, "This is funny. I know what you said, but come on in." Look, I think just taking that time in a world where everything's about scale and everything's about like moving as fast as possible and robot automation, that does cut through as it has done for the last 100 years.
When did you find that it was not appropriate to send? And the reason why I'll ask this is it's a little bit of extra work. It's maybe, it's not everything's easy when you're just typing in an email. Sometimes people overanalyze it, but I think about how easy it is to pop out a camera for most people. You or me, it's pretty easy to do. I know a lot of people are going to overthink it. Does my hair look good? Am I wearing the right clothes? Obviously, we're dressed up for this interview, but when you think about that hurdle that somebody's got to get over to use one, how do you sort of help people approach that so that they feel more comfortable? Because not everybody is an Instagram model like you and me that's super camera ready. Hardly. But there is a hurdle for a lot of people that aren't as easy as Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, to pop out the phone and just make a video.
Yeah, so I think it's two things here. I think I'll talk about both of these. One is obviously when to use, and the other one is how to get over that initial hurdle. I think like the hurdle. So like this year's changed a lot of people. A lot of people now are much more comfortable on video. It's been coming, we saw people using Skype with families first. Now everyone's using Zoom with teams. And taking that step towards customers is a much more step than it was. Like that's a caveat. We see that play out. What you will understand very quickly doing these is not about getting yourself looking beautiful. I mean, I'm always going to fail on that front regardless.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
But like you don't necessarily do it if you're going to have a coffee with a customer or bump into them. Yeah. So it's the same attitude where it's not about. Video is always on a pedestal. We always used to think video is film and TV for years and years, and that's built up. Whereas it's not that; it's just a window. It's just the next best thing to having a coffee. This you have to kind of just get into it to get over that. It's one of those things you kind of have to do by trying and learning. You'll notice that when you do a few, that they start to kind of work, and that gets you over it. So look, there is a bit of like learning by doing, like anything, but we've gone past the innovator stage of the curve. Like. It's now like the majority is starting to get on video. Video is becoming more complex. Like you're going to have to do it. So my challenge is just to jump in. Don't bother getting a perfect camera. It's not about that. And with mobile phones, we've started to understand this too. The way you talk to your family, the way you talk to business people, like it's not that different really. In terms of where to use it. So we generally like, it's not about cold, I think. Now video and cold, to be honest, could probably work better than like most cold outreach pieces you do. But a couple of things here. One is cold is naturally a lower converting mechanism. So when you're doing personalized videos, they do take, albeit 40 seconds to a minute to do. But if you've got to send 100 of those to get 2 responses, you need to work out the ROI on your time. It doesn't make sense. So personally, I don't think it makes a lot of sense at that point. Some companies, some charities do really well at that. I mean, if your clients are high ticket items, it might work. I think it's very much a second touch point because the other thing is getting a video from a stranger could be a little bit odd. I think when someone's aware of you, so maybe you've met them at an event or they sign up to a lead form or they've come into your funnel, then you have permission to go and do it. And then it's extremely warm and it's welcoming and it's about the people behind the brand, but you're aware of the brand. So my suggestion there is I don't think it's a cold tool per se. With us, and when I sent you one, it was actually a second touch point. So
Yeah,
Casey reached out,
exactly.
he said like, and so when I come in, you know who I am, you know why it's coming across, and then you get it. If I'd done that off the cuff and you had no idea why this was there, like I would argue it's probably not an effective use of my time.
Yeah, but it'd still be better than 99.9% of the really bad sales pitches I get that have no personalization. They don't attempt to connect or solve a problem or anything else. But I to your point, one of the things with like LinkedIn, for example, so many of the connect requests that I get, you can kind of feel where like 99% of them are coming in. They're just trying to sell you something. They don't care. They don't do anything else. And I'm always amazed when somebody, even if it's a product I don't want or need, sends me an audio file or a video file just as a quick hello. And it makes, I pay so much more attention because it really makes that connection. And at least it piques my interest into thinking about what this person is doing or selling or educating in some form or fashion. How do you look at this when is Bonjoro a product? Because I'm with you on the medium, if you will, and leveraging video. I don't look like it, but I used to be on TV and was for years. But how do you look at this coming when sort of a drip campaign? Is this always going to live inside of an email to convert? Or is this something that we're going to use as part of a connection piece with social apps or something like that? Where does Bonjoro fit? Is it strictly sort of within the email touch point to video?
Yeah, so we start with video. We now have systems you can share out to social as well. I think SMS is interesting too. I think so. Here's a balance here. Don't spam. Just
right.
don't. So you want to go through channels that you have permission to use. For a start, you want to go to channels where your customers are living.
Yeah.
So it depends where they are. I mean, emails are catch-all. We'll have that. It's kind of you've got permission to use emails. It's coming in. SMS, don't just use it if you're allowed to, and be careful with it because you don't want to ruin that channel for yourself. Social's the same. So I think again, the medium can go through anywhere, but it's a case of where your customers are living, where does what it is you're selling match that communication style. So if you're selling wealth management, maybe Facebook's not the way to go.
So this is not something where we're just taking the concept of sending out a video to 10,000 people. This is a one-to-one connect idea, right? This is not one where where the intent is to strictly just leverage the medium of video and send that out via email. It's a way to leverage a personalized message to a small group of people or persons.
Yeah, it's about communication and engagement. So simple way, like doing single videos to large lists for the right reasons is perfectly valid. Yeah, different communication styles at different points on the journey. So if you launch a new product, you can do a product demo and a product launch. And video is a great engaging way to do this as well. Like you absolutely should be doing it. This is not that. This is about one-to-one connection. So it's more about relationships.
It's not an advertising channel.
It's not. This is not even. It's not even marketing. I mean, it kind of does. Yeah, it's more customer success. Like is what I call it, which is this area's evolved, which is it does touch into marketing, it touches into sales, it touches into support, and touches into brand and culture, and it kind of combines all those. So really, but it's about relationships. Ultimately, are the heart here. How do you build many micro relationships and people trust? Like we are hardwired to trust humans. Yeah, we're social creatures. So the video, as a medium, gets that across, and then you taking the time to say someone's name, or their company, it's extremely powerful. Don't underestimate it because we are hardwired to go, ooh, you notice your name, you pull it out. If you're in a crowded room and someone says your name, you hear it through all the noise. There's a reason for that. So we're just tapping into that and trying to build more trust. The authenticity of kind of mobile video helps here, but it's all about trust and relationships.
Yeah, the sad part is knowing that more marketers will start to use this. They will probably spam as many people as possible, and we can just hope that they don't.
There is a balance with that. So one thing I'll say here as an example is take Twitter. So every company in the world has a Twitter account. Does every company in the world use that account well? No. So I think there's a point here. Everyone has a LinkedIn account. People use it well or not. So like you said, some people take time with you on LinkedIn. That makes a huge difference. So as with any medium or channel, yes, marketers will try and ruin it, but there will always be people for who that channel works well because they use it correctly and they excel at it. So work out if this is gonna be a channel for you and they do the right thing, and it'll stay there despite the marketers.
So if I'm pushing my sales force to use a tool like this, how is this going to help sales? Talk about the conversions you've seen by using this, whether it was with your own company or with clients you use this with today.
Yeah, so there's a few different points on the sales process where we see this used. So again, let's forget cold sales now. Let's not talk about that. This is the second touch point. So obviously reaching out cold, gain interaction back, and then dropping a video through to make a best first impression and to drive a specific action. So what you're looking to do here is, what's the next action that matters to you as a sales force? Is that to book a demo? Is it to book a call? In which case, use these to help drive that up, because when someone sees someone, they go, "Oh, this is Steve. Yeah, you definitely will have a chat." Yeah, like they get who you are. It's like us. We used it to get on this call with you. We then see, we also see it used a lot around things like getting calls and demos to turn up. So this sounds a little bit more kind of niche, but essentially, when you're booking those calls onto your sales force, which might not be with a sales team, might actually be with an engagement team, making sure to send a video 24 hours beforehand and say, "Look, hi, I'm so and so on. I'll be doing your call tomorrow. Like, looking forward to it." So we've seen, using that kind of situation, it kind of increases demo call turnups by 20-30%, which is pretty huge. Engagement rate in terms of response rate for sales side, like again, 3 times the response rate tends to hold across the board as a rough average, but we see about 70-80% open rates on the messages that are sent out. So again, with sales as a second point of engagement, that's kind of where that holds. Depending how deep you want to go down that sales funnel, we see a lot around activation as well. So kind of like just post sale, making sure the customer is actually doing the next step on the journey. So if you're a SaaS product, this is making sure they're using the product. If you're an online course, it's making sure they engage with the material. If you're a services company, it's making sure that they sign the POC. If you're wealth management, it's making sure they go and do their first piece of investment. So we then see it, and this is tied sales, but it's post that piece. Where you'll lose customers is when they're kind of sold, but then they actually don't go and do anything. And so drive them to do the next piece and saying, "Hey, I saw you, you've come into the process. You've been with us 3 days now. You haven't made your first investment. Did you need help? Or if you don't need help, here's a link to go and do that. And here's the help article to get you across." So actually making sure that, in those first few days, that any sold customer activates and therefore retains, like, in that immediate process.
Yeah. And I said sales, and I think it's just putting my shark brain on. I should have said sort of a conversion or a touch point really with a customer is what I mean. But how do you sort of look at measuring this as well? This has obviously got a little bit of a different metric, if you will. It's not necessarily an email open rate, and it's not necessarily a video completion rate. How are you sort of guiding people on how to combine all of the conversion metrics we could possibly use with something like this to really see how this is performing and makes it, it's a very affordable product, but how do you sort of help guide people to look at personalizing a message to a certain amount to where there's an ROI behind it?
Yeah. So, everything ties back down to lifetime value is kind of how we think about it. So we educate on this. We're building a product right now that's going to help you try and measure this. So we're going to try and start to bring this into product for you. At the moment, we kind of work with clients, kind of advise them. But when I say lifetime value, what you'll be looking for from your funnel, ultimately, is every customer's paying more money. Yeah. And so the way this works is you're either converting more customers, which is very binary. So, where you can do A/B tests, if you've got 100 leads coming in, send 50 video and send 50 down your normal route. Then look at those customers the next month and go, was there a conversion rate difference? If that is retention, this is a bit harder, but looking at, so obviously we use to engage with customers to get them to stay longer and get them to activate. I mentioned before, make sure they actually do the things. So again, running 2 tests and saying, were the group we sent videos to, do they activate better? Do they stay longer? So yeah, and then ultimately, if you're looking to do driving things like upgrades, did the group we sent videos to upgrade more, pay more money, or buy another product? Right now, we tend to work with you and kind of look at how you do this in your system, but it should be tied back to a dollar amount. So open rates, yes, these are leading indicators. Yeah, do we get more opens of the message? Do we get more views of the message than we do normally? Do we get more bookings off the back of it? But ultimately, dollar amount is everything. And again, we're going to bring in a piece because we actually plug the system into CRMs like HubSpot, Salesforce, you name it. We're looking to release a system whereby you'll be able to pick a goal such as paid equals yes, and we'll be able to then just automatically tell you what percentage of users you've sent videos to get to that goal. And then you can very easily measure that against how you would normally track your conversion rate in your own system.
One of the things that I bring up in a lot of my own presentations, and I complain a lot about the over spammation, if you will, of email. And I'll give you an example. So I fired a company that was providing a service to me. And in over a year now, they've sent me well over 500 mass emails, and most of them are absolutely horrible. And, on the front end, getting an email, something like this with a video, I can easily see the conversion touch points scoring well. But what so many people do is they leave you on a drip campaign trying to bring people back. And it is the same junk offers I get pretty frequently. It's $100 off here. Tomorrow I'll get one for 125 off. The next day it'll be back to 100. And just the way to romance me back, to bring them back to hire them again to perform a service, has always sparked such an interest in how do you re-engage a lot of those customers that you lose, because the lifetime value, to your point, of the customer is worth a lot, but there's a lot of churn and burn as people move across, different brands today. And I see this as an amazingly potentially powerful tool to also re-engage those customers to come back, because what I've gotten maybe 3 times in the last year is a piece of personalized mail, paper mail. And I've gotten over 500 messages that were just junk. And then they retargeted me with a bunch of banner ads that did not ever address why I fired them in the first place, or it didn't have a personal feel, if you will. And something like this could deliver such a personal re-engagement message. And I'm curious if you've seen that at all with anybody trying to bring customers back as a use case as well.
Yeah, so we see it quite a lot in high ticket item customers. That's
Yeah,
what way to describe them. Yeah, so like obviously there's a time input here as well with this. So yes, it's used. Like one industry we see it used a lot in is gyms, obviously.
sure.
So like re-engagement
Yeah,
is absolutely crucial for them. Um, they're very successful at it. Yeah, so it's hard to turn away a person than it is to turn away an email. I think so. One caveat I would say here is like this is a type of comms and it's a good medium. Don't use it for everything. Like this is back to the spam point. Yeah. Don't go and use a video message for every single touch point. It's, like pick out the ones whereby you checking in as a human is going to have a conversion point. So again, I think best first impressions, like top of the funnel, it's a no brainer. Yeah. I think then re-engaging, and I would say re-engaging both with like lapsed customers. So bringing them back into the funnel and just checking in again. The fact that you've taken the time, like you're buying like off them a response kind of, yeah, by investing in time yourself. I think also with customers who've been with you, but maybe are just not engaged with the company, those are the ones that you're at risk of losing anyway to competitors. You should also be looking to preempt the churn. So like engage them
absolutely.
beforehand.
Yeah.
So a good example here is, so at Christmas, we see a huge spike in usage because a lot of people reach out to customers and wish them happy Christmas in person. It's actually a really good thing to do. Like there's an excuse to be sending it because it's this time of year. I actually think doing things around the positive. So you obviously got your Black Friday and all that kind of stuff. I think doing stuff around positivity is actually probably better. Yeah. Other things we do is like we see people do Thank You Thursdays, where every Thursday they're sending a video to a random customer, and over the year you cover all the customers. All this is very unexpected. It's actually a process. The thing I say here is you need to have a process behind this. Do these for a reason at certain points in the journey. Measure them, continue. If you can just check in with each customer once a year, that's the bare minimum you should do. And someone on your team should be doing that in person. The number of services we use as a company, I think we have 120 paid subscriptions, which is a lot. And I think there's maybe 7 of them that have reached out to us in person, despite the fact we're a personalization company. And there's 7 of them whereby if competitors come along, the barrier for me to move is much, much higher because I like the people that we work with. It actually does matter more than you think. Whereas the other 113, if somebody came across with a better offer and with a bit of personalization, and like pricing, like my barrier to leave is extremely low because I'm not like, I may love their product, but I'm not
building that emotional connection.
Yeah, a human's emotion, like we thrive on emotions and relationships. Yeah, like we're not binary. We're not black and white. Well, most of us aren't black and white. Some of us are. Like those gray areas are where you compete. If those are the bits that help you over another brand, this is why you get 2 companies in the same space. Where potentially one even has a superior product, and the superior product wins because they're stand out on customer support. I mean, a lot of corporates could take note from this. Yeah, like if you're in telcos, honestly, the way to win, just do good support. Like it's easier. Just care about customers. You know, it helps.
Well, and to your point, I mean, of those 500 messages that I was talking about that I got via email, if I gotten one using a product like yours, I would have paid attention to it. The rest has just become noise. And I think that's part of the problem. So many companies have not just taken the time to develop that personal and emotional relationship with people that they just continuously don't do. How do you look at this then, where you differentiate your product from the competitors? Because there are some competitors in the space. What makes Bonjoro different?
Yeah, for sure. So it's all about the workflow piece. So like I said, like at the end of the day, this is personalization, but it's done at an operational level. So we plug into Intercom, Salesforce, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, Ontraport, Infusionsoft, Shopify, like you name it. We plug in and then we build basically we have these what we call pre-built funnels where we've done research with all of our customers, like in sales, in activation, in all different industries. And we're basically like, you can use these to get started on day one. So day one, we can say, here's the subject line you need to use. Here's what you should be saying in the message. This is the kind of action you're looking to drive. This is a trigger point. So it's not, if you're an e-commerce company, don't send to every customer, just send to the ones whose value is above this, or send to people who purchase twice because they're the ones where it's worth spending the time. So we'll tell you how to use it, when to operationally use it, and then we'll notify you at the right time to send the message. So, you know, your Salesforce, Tim will get a message, a notification on his phone or desktop at 4:43 saying, hey, there's another lead to do. They've done X, Y, Z. When he then opens that, we'll actually pull in all the details about the customer. So we'll tell him what their name is, what their company is, how long they've been with you, what they've done in your system or in your company, where they can do X lead forms, so that when he can record a video, everything is there for him to personalize it. So it's very quick. It's done, it's sent, and then it's ignored. And when it's sent, you know, he chooses different templates to send different customers on different journeys. So he might get one to book a demo, whereas he might send another one to go and look at a support article. Another one might go and talk to partnerships. That's picked and sent. So the idea is the whole process takes a minute. So it's very, very quick to do, at the same point of being very like highly personalized, as it's driven around specific action points, driving customers to take a specific next step. So it's very much, you know, like the automation behind it is absolutely crucial. We just say, like, we still need 30 seconds of your time to, you know, spend on a customer, and that's it.
So we've talked a lot about consumers, customers, things like that, but have you also seen this being used at companies from an employee engagement standpoint? The last brand that I worked for had 15,000 employees. I know that if the CEO sent a personalized message to anybody, that would have been a pretty powerful item. And I'm sure somebody who's obviously lived, 10,000 miles away from where you were born, you probably leverage this kind of video to send a message to somebody back home or even on your team to where it really can stand out and make a difference.
Yeah. And so I think, so here's the game. It's one of those tools you give to your team and give them the ability to use internally. You will find some team members will pick it up more than others, like absolutely. So actually, like in terms of culture point of view, there's leadership that does this. Yeah. So like you said, sending out updates to the team, you know, a lot of our customers will do this. It's not a primary, like we always use for customers first. This is almost a benefit that kind of comes next. So sending out updates. The other thing is giving it to team members, your more extroverted team members, the ones who help to drive the culture ahead, who will then be using it randomly off the cuff to send like silly messages, especially in like today's world where we're a bit more remote, to keep the team engaged. I don't think force this. I think, you know, not everyone will jump on video. Not everyone will come to it initially. They'll come over time. You'll be surprised what happens when people start to use it more. But I think the idea of the same concept is there is like random, like off the cuff little check-ins with the team that are no more than a minute. So it's not a long video. It's not a long Slack thread. It's not a long, email. It's a quick 30-second video that someone sends just to make everyone smile. If you can get a few team members, if you can get a few of your team doing this, like it's wonderful for culture. Like those little perks throughout the day. And again, as a leader, like as a CEO, like we do it to our team. We're in 5 countries around the world. I will do it, but then so will my CMO, so will my CTO. And then so will like some of our junior members who've just got a lot of attitude, and they'll just like do it to make everyone laugh. It's wonderful. It connects the whole team together.
Best use case you've seen in the entire time you've used it. What have you seen that stood out in all the years in your email communications?
Yeah. So look, I'll give it quite timely. I think it's quite interesting looking at like e-commerce has boomed this year massively. What I've seen is a lot of e-commerce start to launch subscription businesses. And so with that, I've seen a lot of people use this to drive anyone who comes in for a second time purchase. They're sending a video and they're going, did you know we have a subscription model? Go on here, it'll actually save you this much money. Like I was talking to a customer the other day where they went from like $34,000 like monthly recurring revenue to $75,000 in like 2 weeks by just sending these for anyone who came in for a second purchase. So I look at that and I'm like, the speed of like moving from like a single purchase model to a subscription model, like in terms of like business impact, that is insane because the subscription models are like just like reliable income and off you go. It changes the whole dynamic of the business. I'm just using videos to do that. I think anything you're doing with existing customers overall, anything you do to get existing customers to repurchase or to stay longer, like that's the stuff that actually really pays back. Like forget leads, like existing customers, getting another dollar for an existing customer is much more effective. It's much cheaper to do. And it's much more, in fact, impactful to you in terms of growing your business.
From a technology standpoint, what's the point of me using a product like yours as opposed to just sending a text message with a video?
Yeah. So I think operation wise, like when you've got a certain scale that you need to make this so it happens systematically. So say it's much easier to do that. Yeah. Same text or the video is fine. Like use that as a test case. Yeah. Like try that, see if it works. Try with a few customers, but you'll at some point you'll forget or that won't get baked into your operations for you on your team. So we want to have a system in that guarantees this happens. And then when you want to like add some branding and links and drive specific actions after it, that's when you want to use the technology that does it. This kind of thing, it's not, don't like throw your whole team into it and spend 6 months planning it. Like get on board, try send out 10. It'll take you 10 minutes. You'll know very, very, very quickly if it works for your company or not. I'm not saying it will work for everyone, but it's one of those things that's so easy to test. It's kind of a no-brainer just to give it a go. And then if it works, then start to think about it and invest in more. Don't like just get on with it.
Yeah, it's such a good idea for a test because, there's so much of this stuff where it's, you could just take a 10% and try it. If not, even if less than that, and you'll probably see a remarkable lift. The biggest fear is that it'll be so successful over normal email and normal conversion touch points from other channels that people jam it up and give too many messages, which is probably the worst use case you would often see.
It's a balance.
Matt, I asked this of all my guests. Since you're on a shark's perspective and you've seen a few in your day, because we talked about this before, what is your favorite kind of shark and why?
I like Makos, to be honest.
Makos beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're beautiful fish. I've seen a few jump or been out fishing and stuff.
It's amazing how they spiral out of the water. It's simply amazing to see them in person.
They're just awesome.
They go after those bait fish and they just dive right through them at up to, they burst up to 60 miles an hour. They've been clocked, which is crazy, but they normally fastest fish in the water, 31 miles per hour is what it's a little hard to measure them. But they still, it's what they've been clocked at. So no, it's a good choice. Not enough people recognize, especially the short fin Makos. So, well, Matt, it's a special time in the show. Are you ready for the 5 most interesting and important questions that you're going to be asked today?
Go for it.
All right. So number 1, Bondi Beach or 4 Mile Beach?
4 Mile Beach.
Why so?
One of those too touristy. If you
Okay,
like I like surfing, and you just got to dodge. You just got to dodge people all day long.
All right, number 2, video platforms, somewhat related to what we're talking about. Snapchat or TikTok?
Snapchat.
Yeah,
but that's probably just because I'm older.
No, both of us are in the, if you're only listening to this and you're not watching, then Matt and I are in our early 20s. So he colors his beard gray. So number 3, because you told me you were a surfer, surfing in Australia or surfing in California?
I have done both. I do like Australia, but I'd say I don't like surfing with a wetsuit. And Cali can get that little bit colder than it is over here.
A little bit. It's like frozen water.
Compared to Scotland, it's beautiful. I mean, still, but they are all better than Europe.
Not a great place to dive, which goes to question number 4, surfing or diving? Because you said you were a dive master previously before.
They're very different. They're very different. Very different. Surf, like equal love. Like diving for me is fascinating. It's obviously a lot more involved, a lot more like depth. I do it when I'm traveling. Surfing is I could jump in the water with a board and be back in half an hour. It's not even they're not both sports. One's but neither are sports really. They're like it's a different pace. Like I can't choose. It's too hard.
You got to though. It's Sophie's choice. You got to pick.
Probably diving, because when I'm 80, I won't be able to surf, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to dive.
Yeah, if you'd said surfing, we wouldn't have finished the show. There's number 5, and the most important question you're going to be asked today is biscuits or cornbread. Something I don't get to ask people in Australia very often. Thank you.
Biscuits. What even is cornbread?
Exactly. That should be the name of the show. So Matt, where can people find out more about you, about Bonjoro, sign up for the service and more?
Yeah, so head to bonjoro.com, completely free, test it out, get on board, have a go. You'll receive a video from one of the team. So if you have any questions, ask them directly. Otherwise, myself, if you have any questions, go to LinkedIn and search for Papa Bear. I think there's 3 of us, and I'm the guy in the bear suit. So do reach out, here to help.
Matt, thank you again for being with us today on A Shark's Perspective.
No worries, Sharky. Thanks for having me.
So there was my conversation with Matt Barnett, the CEO, founder, and Papa Bear as he's known at Bonjoro, the world's first customer delight platform to help great teams build real relationships with their customers at scale. Let's take a look at 3 key takeaways from my conversation with him. First, what they're seeing when measuring engagement with emails is a 3x response rate. I know that any of these types of emails that I've received from people, including the good people at Bonjoro, I've engaged with multiple times. Email is still one of the absolute best channels, but we abuse it. So this is not supposed to be a mass video insertion plan. It's a way to combine video and email to build a more personalized one-on-one connection. And that's missing in most marketing today. Great part is that this is easy to measure, at least from open and engagement rates. How you truly connect with them for the long term is a different measurement altogether. Second, and I've found this with a lot of successful entrepreneurs like Matt, sometimes you can uncover a new solution to a problem when you're still working on a different one. He opened an agency and then sees this zig left with a tool that took his business into a whole new and more profitable zag when he meant to zig. They didn't set out to do video emails in a personalization platform, but it overtook his agency in growth. So keep your eyes wide open, especially when you're looking internally, and be ready to zag. Third, when you think of all the emails you get, like the 800 unread ones sitting in my inbox, when you get all the LinkedIn requests, so very few actually and truly try to connect because so many are just, cookie cutter. They may feel personal to you, the sender, but it's very likely that the user is getting nothing different from you than they do from your competitors. So even though you can scale it, personalizing the message to someone is not a tactic for just sending to everyone. You'll put context into a CRM and then just send message after message that you think works. But break that pace up. It's about when we need to be selective. Think about ways to do things differently in your marketing, your advertising, and your connecting. About how you can interrupt the cookie cutter approach. If you think this might work for your business, then, as he said, try it and give it a go. If anything, the point is not to simply use a tool, it's just trying to connect better. Got a question? Send me an email to kenneth@asharksperspective.com. Thank you again for the privilege of your time. And if you're going to send me an email or a connection request, try making it personalized and actually connect. And surfing's great too, but I'd rather be diving in the water. That's where sharks like me should be. So join us on the next episode of A Shark's Perspective.